Welcome to Minutes by Minutes. I'm Elgin Nichols.
And I'm Dave Kenny.
And we're here to talk about what goes on in the village, the township, you know, those government entities that they make laws and regulations that affect you out there.
That's right, Elgin. And whether you live in the village of Oxford, the village of Leonard, Addison Township, or Oxford Township, these are the people you elected. And the commissions and the committees that make decisions that directly affect you, whether you attended that important meeting or not.
The word is important because they're all important. And if you miss one, you're going to know what he's talking about.
And that's why we're here.
It's going to come back. It's going to bite you. And it's humor. You know, when it bites you, it's humorous.
That's right. Some humor floats to the top and some just sits on the bottom waiting.
It does do that. If you're, get an opportunity to attend any of these meetings, we highly recommend it. But if you don't attend personally, check it out on OCC TV. Most of the meetings are out there on our webpage.
Sometimes they're slow, but sometimes you attend what I call the torches and pitchforks meetings.
Yes, you can smell the smoke.
And you'll have to buy a seat.
Right. Absolutely. Well, let's talk about a couple meetings that came up within the last week or so. One is the NOTA meeting, which is
North Oakland Transportation Authority.
Hey, good. You chimed right in there with that one.
South Park.
Yep. And the other one is Oxford Township Board of Trustees.
That's right.
And both are fairly interesting. The North.
They should be to you.
Well, yeah. The NOTA meeting, Bill Dunn, of course, is the chairperson for that meeting. Sue Sardet and 9 other members actually sit on that meeting.
Including him.
Oh, no, not on the North Oakland County Transportation.
That's Pollyant Trail, isn't it?
That's Pollyant. No, that's North Oakland. Yeah, I'm on the Pollyant Trail.
Okay.
Are you confused or am I confused?
Just trying to remind you of these things.
You're trying to make me confused.
So you'll show up at the next meeting?
All right. Well, we do have some meetings coming up on the Pollyant Trail, but not to have, it doesn't have a lot to do with the North Oakland County.
However, no meeting this month.
Why is that?
Because they decided that you were just going to spoil everything.
Okay, but you probably used your eraser and took it off.
I did.
I knew that's what happened. Okay, so anyway, so they went through the minutes on this thing. And by the way, do you know anything about Pollyant Trail? Now you got me switched over to the Pollyant Trail. We're going to do the NOTA, right? Is that what we're going to do? Okay,
well,
put me back on the train.
They used to be located here in Oxford, but now their main facility is down in Lake Orion.
It is.
And qualified people can call them up, and I don't know exactly what all the qualifications are, but it's for people that have a hard time getting from one place to another, and it makes itself available to Lake Orion, Oxford, and I think a couple of other communities, doesn't it?
Addison Township.
Addison Township.
Yep.
So it's a very valuable service.
It is. What they do is they provide at-the-door service to people that are either handicapped or they're in a financial situation and they have no means of transportation to get to their jobs, if they have a job, or get to the grocery store.
The doctor's visits.
Yep, all those kind of things. And by the way, they cover...
And they're wheelchair accessible, too.
They are. They have roughly, I think, 20-some-odd vehicles that are wheelchair accessible. Also, they cover 222 square miles. So
wow.
they got quite an area that they encompass.
And they've acquired a new vehicle or two, haven't they, recently? And or are going to, that are specifically designed. They're just not like a Chevy or a Ford. They are 100% designed for this kind of activity.
They keep wearing them out. Did you notice that?
Well,
that kind of mileage, I'm sure they're going to. But anyway, so they have 20 vehicles right now, and they have 16 wheelchair accessible units. So we did discuss that a wee bit. NOTA has driven 436,000 miles and provided 33,879 residents with services.
Good. And they're all thankful for that.
They are. And one of the things that they talk about down the line here is to incorporate. But before they did that, they, of course, talked about the minutes from the last meeting. And that was
incorporate?
To incorporate it.
As opposed to what?
As opposed to the way they operate now, where they're not incorporated as one entity. Right now, they have to deal with every township, every village separately, and make sure that they're put on the, the tax table, so that they get their funding.
So how will this be different?
Well, now these communities deal with just
having opened that door.
Yeah. Actually, it's a composition of all the entities like Addison Township, Leonard, Oxford Village, and Oxford Township, as well as Addison, as well as Lake Orion, the village and in the township of Lake Orion. So now they've comprised everything into one company, corporate, and actually the state kind of encouraged them to do this as a.
But their funding is the same.
Their funding would be the same. It's all done through taxes, and you
Right.
folks out there would vote to allow this organization to provide those services.
And this
They're
is
so
where you're
necessary.
getting some bang for your buck.
Yeah, you are. So anyway, the first person that they talked to was the director, and she gave a report, Lynn Gustafson. Gustafson is the word.
Yep.
Yep. And she's very formidable and doing a great job for NODA. She talked about schedules that were revised in the past and keeping up on those. Also computer equipment that they're going to require in terms of update and in terms of software and that kind of thing.
Just
So-
because it's electric doesn't mean it won't wear out.
yeah, and they will wear out eventually at some point, or it may not wear out, but there'll be a newer system come along making this one, you know,
Longer,
Antiquated.
lower, wider, faster.
yeah, able to leap tall. I mean, maybe small buildings. I don't know. But anyway, that's what happens
But
in computer
Makes it more
equipment.
efficient.
More efficient, and that's the whole key to this, is making the organization more efficient. Now, she also talked about a grant that she's applied for on February 1st, which is a substantial amount of money that would be coming to the NODA organization.
Is that state or county?
It's going to be state
Okay.
grant. Cancellation, she did talk about cancellation fees. Sometimes people will call and they'll ask to be picked up, and for some reason or another, they're not there, or they don't do it. And so how do you recoup that? Well, she's saying that, well, there should be $1 charge, you know, to that individual if they don't use the service once they've scheduled it. Because you've scheduled a vehicle to go out there, a driver, and you know, they kind of have to go out of the way sometimes for some of these pickups.
Try doing that with Uber.
Yeah. Yeah, you'll find yourself in Canada, or you'll find yourself in Alaska, or worse yet, maybe in Cuba, going underwater. But anyway,
Uber you somewhere, believe me.
they Uber you, yeah. What does Uber stand for anyway, I wonder?
Uber. It means over.
It means over?
Hi.
In
Over.
what language?
You know, it's German.
Oh, okay.
You believe that?
No. And I can tell you don't believe it either by your eyes.
It's like Uber lieutenant. Verbal
Okay.
lieutenant.
All right. All right. It could be like whale blubber, but Uber. Okay. Whatever it is.
That's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
Okay, you better, because you're so deep now you can't get out of it. Okay, public comment. No,
No.
no public comment.
What were you expecting me to say something?
No, I know you're not going to have any public comment, although you could, I guess. Might. I don't know. Anyway, so there was no public comment at
Or
this
just
meeting.
a pregnant pause there.
Anyway, they did talk about bills the next thing, and you know they spent $21,983 and 28 cents.
On what?
Who knows what? On bills.
How about gas?
Well, part of it is probably on gas.
Maintenance and administration. How's that sound?
Could be. Maybe computer parts. I don't know. Could be any of those things, all of them. But anyway, if you want to know more, you can probably get that information. It's public information.
Yeah, it is.
So you can get it. Then they went into old business, Act 196 authority, and that's where the articles of incorporation come into play. Yep. And we'll talk more about that when we come back right after this. Welcome to Minutes by Minutes. I'm Elgin Nichols.
And I'm Dave Kenny.
And we are talking about the North Oakland Transportation Authority.
Boy, it
Or
just
NOTA.
caught right there, didn't it?
Yeah, right, it did. Anyway, so we were talking about the Act 196 Authority, which is the Articles of Incorporation.
Okay.
And they were thinking about maybe they should incorporate it. It's something that the state has kind of asked them to do as a member of the North Oakland Transportation Authority.
But they would be a tax-free corporation, right?
Yeah, well, a corporation isn't necessarily a tax-free organization, but they are. They've filed, necessary forms for,
Not paying taxes.
not paying taxes. Yeah, right.
I
That's what
tried
they
doing
do.
that, and they came for me.
Well, no, you tried not paying bills.
Oh,
They came for you. That's a big difference. You gotta file the proper paperwork.
hey, following your instructions.
I know. Okay. Yeah, I know. It happens all the time. Sometimes. Most of the time. Anyway, so they had quite a discussion on this. And when it came down to it, they said, well, let's make a motion. No, they don't want to do it. And they said, well, not that we're not going to do it. It's just that we need a little more time to think about it. Because the Village of Leonard, they said, well, what if this corporation decides they want to do a certain thing, with a nonprofit, and we don't agree with it? Where does that leave us?
Who's we?
That would be Leonard.
Oh,
And where does that leave us, according to McDonald? And they said, well, that'll probably leave you out in the fog.
Do the municipalities relinquish control as such?
As a corporation, their control is within the corporation as a whole, as one full
Yet
body.
The corporation is made up of members from the municipalities.
Absolutely.
Huh.
Now, if you would be so kind to express that and send it back to me, the way you understand it,
Sounds like a never-ending story.
it could be. Yeah. It could be. So anyway, so they voted no, at least at this point, and they're saying, well, let's review it, and in the future, bring it back.
Oh, okay.
Will it ever return?
No.
Yes, it will. At some point.
I guess they could give everybody veto power,
They could do that if they wanted to do that.
where all decisions had to be unanimous.
They could do that. Depends on how they set up their articles.
Then all the majority would go, but we're being dominated by that little guy.
Yeah, right. That guy down there, how do we get him off the corporate ladder? I don't know.
Well, I'm sure they'll find that answer.
Yeah, I'm sure they will. They're pretty innovative. They can probably work it out. They could dissolve the corporation and start a new one.
Lynn will see to it that they find a way.
She will. Good. Thank goodness she's there. Okay. Keep this thing moving. Okay, so next, let's talk about the Oxford Township Board of Trustees. And on that board is Bill Dunn, who's the supervisor of the township, of course. And let me see, Curtis Wright, who is the clerk, and Joe Ferrari, who's the treasurer. And then you have Jack Curtis, Margaret Payne.
And him truly.
Yeah, me truly, and Patty Durr.
Yeah.
So we all sat on that board, and they took a roll, of course, and everybody was there. Said, hi, we're here. So anyway, they did a pledge to the Legion. They did all the...
To the Legion?
To the Legion. To that Legion.
And,
What would you like to call it?
well, it's allegiance, but
Says you. Okay. So anyway...
but the Roman
yeah.
Legion could have been outside and you didn't want to up.
Can you say that on the air?
I don't think so.
Okay. You're already in trouble. So anyway, so
What
it was
you call
a
it, fait
pledge
accompli.
of allegiance. Are you happy now?
I'm happy now.
Okay. So anyway, so they did that and did a full roll call. Everybody was there. And any public content? No
No.
comment? No comment.
They're
They
checking
all
their
hid
sho-
under the chairs.
Oh, they were just checking their shoes.
No, I know. So they were under the chairs hiding.
Oh, yeah.
So anyway, so no. Township water supply ordinance was the first thing. It was the second reading. And it concerns the Water and Sewer Committee, who brought this thing together. And actually, Curtis Wright was applauded for doing a great job of assembling all the information required in order to put this thing in place.
Curtis
Had a
ends
lot
up
of
doing a
work.
lot of grunt work there.
Well, he's a very detailed guy.
He sure is.
Yeah. And he did a great job on this. And of course,
He does some heavy lifting.
yep. The supervisor of the township, he commented on it first, and then Jack Curtis, he chimed in, because both these guys serve on the Water and Sewer Committee.
Mm-hmm.
So they do appreciate the kind of work that Curtis Wright does. Great job. Okay, so anyway, so next was the fire department. Pete Schultz, chief, spoke up, and he had a request to reclassify the finance manager for a job from the township, he currently was under an hourly
The
classification.
finance manager for the township. Who's that?
Well, this would be not for the township, but for the fire department.
Oh, okay.
And what has happened is Margaret Payne used to be in that position, but that job has escalated too much more than when she was there. Part of the responsibility that this other person, who is Joanne Edmonds, does is she's involved in IT work, doing software communications and efforts towards making the system much more capable than what it was before. She does a lot of record keeping, payroll. She does training sessions, with the on-call firemen that come
A
in.
lot of this stuff wasn't done before?
Well, it was, but it was getting to a point where, it takes a couple people to do this job, all these jobs. So anyway, so they incorporated in, and the problem they had is that she had to work a number of hours over, in order to accomplish the responsibilities. And a lot of the on-call firemen, firewomen, they came in later in the evening, and so a lot of times she had to come in the evening also, to handle schedules and also
But she doesn't do
records.
dispatch or anything, does she?
She doesn't do dispatch. She does EMT work, though,
Okay.
which is different than what this job entails. So she will continue to do EMT work, as it turned out, in her own time. It'd be like getting a job at McDonald's, like you would have.
Oh,
And
you want fries with
except
that?
hers would be EMT. And by the way, they need more EMTs out there, and they're willing to train. So if you folks have, the desire to help the community, if you have the desire to help people, in stress, then you might want to contact the fire chief, Pete Schultz.
And since
see
you
what can
brought
be
it
worked.
up, McDonald's also has a help wanted sign out there.
But I got to tell you, this might be a much more rewarding than the
I know.
McDonald's. Okay, I would say it would be. Okay, so if you're interested, contact Pete Schultz. But anyway, so there was quite a conversation going on between trustees, and when it settled down, all the dust settled down, it all evolved around: was she going to be exempt salary in this position? Was she going to be non-exempt? Or was she going to be hourly? Well, that discussion went on further, and Pete Schultz said he wanted to have this particular job identified as exempt salary. Now that means that she would get a salary and work 40 hours. Anything past that, she wouldn't get any overtime pay.
Right.
Now you worked exempt probably, right? No?
Here?
No, not here. Was that a question?
Be kidding me.
Was that a question?
Yeah, I was exempt when I worked over at GM.
So you know how that works.
Yeah.
You get 40 hours, but you end up working 60, 70, right?
And you have a deliverable, it gets delivered no matter how much time you have to put in.
Right. Well, those people that are on exempt, of course, they do much more time than what they're getting paid for, as it turns out, because they're conscientious people.
Right.
And they do what it takes in order to get the job accomplished and get it done right. Am I right?
Sure.
Okay. Well, with that, we'll talk more when we come back right after this.
Canine Stray Rescue does just that. Rescue stray dogs for new families. But they need your help. Become a volunteer at Canine Stray Rescue League of Michigan. Take dogs for walks, help them socialize with others, and help them get adopted. Fill out an application and help a family add a new member today.
Well, welcome back to Minutes by Minutes. I'm Elgin Nichols.
And I'm Dave Kenny.
And we are talking about the Oxford Township Board of Trustees meeting.
I was going to let you dangle there.
Right. That was a participle. Was it participle? Dangling,
That was empty air.
participle. That's what it was. Okay. Anyway, that's what it is. So anyway, we are talking about the job position for Joanne Edmonds, and it's going to be the finance manager job, and it's going to be exempt salary. And so before this came about for the final or for the vote, it was also pointed out that she's working on a FEMA grant right now. So it's interesting. She's working on other things. And by the way, that FEMA grant, should it go through, is worth about $300,000. So that would be good for the fire department.
Federal Emergency Management. What's the A? Give me an A.
I'm waiting for you. You don't know.
Oh, I could guess.
Tell me what it is.
Administration. How's that?
That's close.
That's right on. Thank you very much.
Got it. Okay. So anyway, let him repeat that again, shall we?
No.
He won't do it. Okay. Stubborn. He's stamping his feet right now. Okay. Let it be. Let it be. So anyway, so they did approve that she's salary exempt position, and so it's taken away from the township. She no longer works for the township. She works for the fire department. And the second issue that came up was her benefits, and they said, well, she should get paid in terms of benefits. She should get the same benefits that she's receiving now without getting it cut, with the exception of personal time. Most people under the hourly wage situation get personal time as well, and they said that's to be eliminated.
What is personal time?
I guess if you're pregnant and you're going to have a baby, that would be personal time. I guess if you're going through a divorce, that would be personal time. I don't know. Can you make up some?
I think you are.
Okay, but can you prove it?
Prove a negative?
Right, okay. So anyway, so that all came about, and they agreed to that. And also they said, well, now let's talk about salary, because there was a couple of contracts that were there. One was for like $47,000, another one was for $50,000 for this job. And Bill Dunn said, well, right away, he said, I'm not interested in giving that high of a pay increase from what she's making now. He said, he said, how much would let's say at $21.93 per hour pay rate, what would the amount be for that? And they said, well, the amount for that would be $45,632.90. And what she was getting paid was $44,089.66.
Boy, they don't round off, do they?
No, they don't. So anyway, so everybody agreed that was more reasonable. There was about a 3% increase. And so they voted on it, it was approved. So it's all settled. We have a new individual that works for the fire department, and her position is financial manager.
All right.
Okay. Then Bill Dunn said, let me see, he wanted to send everything that was discussed at this meeting to an HR, Human Relation.
Does the township have HR? Or
We don't.
They outsource it?
Well, Jack Curtis, he chimed in and he said, well, there's a organization just south of us, I think he was referring to Lake Orion, that just hired a part-time HR. And he said, we need to contact Bruce, I think his name is, that he could, put us in touch with this guy and see what he could do for us in a part-time arrangement. And actually, the HR Human Relations is really a necessity based on, the kind of personnel that they have, within the township.
Yeah. That's a highly detailed profession.
It is.
That's what my wife does.
Yeah, I know. It helps keep people out of trouble. I know that.
Yeah.
And boy, if there's any way we can keep the township
Well,
out of trouble, we want to do that.
And it keeps businesses out of trouble.
Yes, it does. Yep, it very well does. Anyhow, so I think that's the direction they're going to take with that. And Bill Dunn, supervisor, said he will contact them and see what arrangements could be made. So there we have it till the next meeting. I believe we have a meeting coming up, financial budget meeting.
Oh,
I believe it's going to be the 20th
okay.
of this month, February. You probably don't have that on your list. But anyway, that's when they're going to have the next township meeting.
They don't have a budget already?
Well, they have a budget, but they need to look at how much money they have available, what has been expensed in the past year or so, how that's going to relate to what they're going to spend next year and how they can make it fit. Are they over budget? Are they under budget? Well, we're going to find out.
They're making a budget.
They're making a budget. New budget. Okay. So anyway, unfinished business. SAD.
Special Assessment District.
Good. You get an A today. Got it.
Got that right here on my crib.
Remember we talked about Cedar Lake and Long Lake and also Can Lake. Those
Ah,
three
yeah.
lakes. So anyway, Jim Sharp, who's the engineer, said that there's 54% of the people within that area that took up a petition. So all you need is over 50%. And so he felt they should go ahead with that. That means 123 properties will be involved. 10 of those properties, however, are going to be restricted from being charged a.
And what was this to accomplish?
This is to take care of the weeds in the lake.
In the lake.
In the lake. Yep.
Now, does that also carry a restriction on dumping fertilizer into the lake?
I think it's already a restriction. I don't think they do that anymore. So you know what? When you go in the pond, don't do your thing in there. Okay. Can't do that anymore.
But a lot of weeds are caused by that.
Yeah, it could be. But
Algae
anyway,
and nasty things.
all that nasty stuff. But anyway, so they took a vote on it to proceed with it, and it was approved to go forward. So that was easy enough. Now next, we're going to go to high heights, way up in the sky ideas. Elevator contract. It's interesting
He's
to
got
note.
high hopes.
Yes, high hopes.
Way up in the sky hopes.
Curtis Wright said the previous contractor that we had, they had to change the light bulb in the elevator. And he said, lo and behold, they said, it's not in the contract. He says, well, what is in the contract? They said, well, we'll change the light bulb and then we'll give you a bill for it. He said, okay, well, we need a light bulb, so go ahead and do it. $400 later to change the light bulb.
That's a hell of a light bulb.
That's what I thought too. So did the rest of the trustees. So anyway, so they said, well, even though he's on the list, he's competitive, along with 4 other bids that they had.
That's a nice markup.
Nice markup is right, but it might cost him by the time it's done here because they decided to go with another company.
Oh.
Elevator contractor. They selected was, let me see, American.
So did they abort their other contract?
It's done. I mean, it's reached
it's up for renewal.
expiration.
Okay.
Michigan Elevator is
Okay.
the company they went with.
All right.
And it looks pretty promising. They're very competitive. Various items have been discussed with the management of that company. And they said, how much are your light bulbs? $1.25.
But we don't do windows.
We don't do windows. So anyway, I don't know if it's going to be $1.25, but anyway, I'm sure that light bulb is going to hold a lot of pain
Oh,
for a lot
dear.
of people for a long time. Then they talked about the liquor license agreement. They had an agreement that came up because what happened is a few years ago, a company, business called Fat Daddy's, got a liquor license and they sold it immediately to a Novi fondue company. So here, this business we intended to keep within the township.
Did Fat Daddy
ended
ever
up somewhere else.
go into business here or
No,
no?
he was in business, went out quickly. Just used the liquor license
Should
as
be a
a
little.
profit maker.
There should be a little codicil on there that
Well,
says
guess what?
if you don't go into business, it's invalid.
Well, guess what? That's what they did.
Oh wow!
They had to sign this. So we all agreed, and that was it. Now, what's coming up next?
We do have meetings coming up on February 13th at 6 o'clock. The Addison Township Board meets, one of your favorites, and on the same day at 7 p.m. the Village of Leonard Council, and at 7 p.m. the Oxford Township ZBA. But like we said in the past, the ZBA gets canceled every now and then, so check. On February 14th at 6:30, the Village of Oxford Council meeting goes on. At 6 o'clock, the Addison Township Planning Commission, and on 2/16 at 7 o'clock, the Village of Leonard Planning Commission, and on 4:30 on that same day, NODA, your NODA, will meet at Addison Township offices, and at 2:20 at 6 o'clock, the Village of Oxford Downtown Development Authority.
I'm Elgin Nichols.
And I'm Dave Kenny.
I'll catch you next time, right here, Minutes by Minute.